We're Charlie and Leanne, a couple from California who left our cushy suburban life to spend the next several years cruising around the Pacific Ocean on our boat, Juliet. And our little dog, too. In our last episode, as we prepared to move back aboard Juliet, we finished our Tech Talk series covering our lithium iron phosphate battery installation. In this episode, we have a very non-traditional Thanksgiving. Then we move back aboard Juliet. We walk through a few of our upgrades, but then Bubba gets a really scary infection, and we have a couple of real nail-biting moments as we prepare to finally set sail again. But we get through those, and we're at sea again. We shake the sails out and visit one of our favorite local anchorages. It's not budging!
Turn on the inverter, turn on the battery charger.
So he took that switch out.
You can do both ends.
They need a low one. Let's take a picture.
So we're back on the boat. Woohoo! We moved back not too long ago after spending all that time in the apartment here in La Paz. We're very happy to be back on the boat. We have a few nice improvements. And well, first I wanted to point out that it's winter, so it does get a little cold here. So we've got our winter blankie on in our quarter berth. We mounted our E-Perb here, and we mounted our fire extinguisher here. So that's easy access for that. Moving down this direction, we got this prism sealed because this had a bad leak, and every time we washed the boat, water would drip down, and so we had to keep a basin right below it at all times. So that's all sealed up. In the galley, we added this paper towel holder. Previously, the paper towels the roll was always just kind of rolling around and it would fall off. So now we've actually got it mounted. We mounted these new baskets here, so I have a place to put fruits and vegetables and stuff. So, and it's very secure and it doesn't move around, so that's really nice. Charlie also anchored our hanging baskets a little better so that and they can handle more stuff in them. This one's anchored a little better too. We also added a couple of new fans. That was a major problem that I had with just getting too hot, especially as we got closer to the summer. So we've got these rechargeable fans which we can take off and move around. So we've got one there, we've got one there. The great thing is that I can put these fans in the galley when I'm cooking, because previously we had this fan over here and we have this fan here, and that's it. So in the galley, when it got really hot in there, I had no airflow at all. So now I can move these two fans over there when I'm cooking. It's just wonderful. What other improvements? Oh, we had a leak in the head, in the pump mechanism. I think it just, got so hot in here that something dried up, the seals dried up, so Charlie repaired the leak. So now we have a working head again. That's always important to have. In the V-berth, I know it still looks like it's crammed full of crap, but we actually removed a lot of stuff already, and we have a pretty easy access. If I have to get up to the anchor locker really quickly, I just gotta throw a couple quick things out and I can be up there in a flash. So previously this thing was crammed all the way up to the rafters, so this is a big improvement. So we are now full-time liveaboards again. Yay!
After 7 months of being dirt dwellers, we are settling back into marina life again, and getting to know some of our dock neighbors. This fellow here seems nice. He doesn't say much, and he has a bad habit of pooping wherever he feels like it, but he's friendly enough.
Well, poor Bubba, he got bit by a bug or of some sort, and he had this huge infection back here above his tail. And yesterday he went to the vet and they had to do some, I guess, minor surgery to clean it up and abrade it and dress it with all the right medicine. He was given some anti-itch medicine and some pain medicine. It bothers him, but he's okay. He's able to move and walk and eat and all that. So we think it's going to take about a week or so for it to heal before it gets to the point where it doesn't need to be dressed and medicine applied. We just cleaned it and dressed it with some new medicine and see how it goes.
Well, it's time to give Bubs his meds. He's a little old man, so he gets a lot of meds. So first he gets his kidney medication, because he's got kidney issues. Okay, now he gets his amoxicillin for his butt infection. You ready? You ready? There you go. Okay, now he gets his itch medicine because his butt itches him. You ready? Oh boy, he loves getting medicine because he gets treats. Okay, now he gets his, medicine for his trachea collapse because he gets coughs, and if you don't give him this trachea collapse medicine, he coughs too much. So, okay, you ready? You ready? Oh boy! And then he gets another one, and I have no idea what this one is. Something to do, it's what I got yesterday, something to do with his butt issue. Maybe it's another antibiotic, I don't know. Here you go. There. Okay. All right, now I got to do something he doesn't like. He likes getting the meds, but he doesn't like this part where I have to put this cream on his butt. Okay, Bubba, you just sit. He's such a good boy, though. Look how calm and patient he is. He was like this at the vet, too. I mean, there we were doing actual surgery on his back, abrading all the skin off this thing. And he just sat there quietly like a good boy. Oh yeah, he's such a good boy. That's my Bubba. What a good puppy. Look at that. I know this doesn't feel good and he just lets me do it. Okay, you're done for now. I'll have to do that again twice today. Mwah. All right.
While it's best to deal with through hulls when you're not in the water, sometimes you just can't.
This here is the transducer for the boat speed through the water and the temperature sensor, as well as the depth sounder, but we don't use this depth sounder anyway. This goes through the hull, through this opening right here. When we had the boat hauled out to raise the water line and put some bottom paint on, I removed this so that the sling, when they haul it out, wouldn't break the paddle wheel. And it's got this plug in here. So what I need to do, since we're about to go for a cruise, is I need to remove the plug, reinsert this. The boat is in the water, so as soon as I pop this out, water's going to gush in. This always makes me a little bit nervous because if there's some growth or something in the hole that prevents this from going in, it could end up, having a lot of water come in. So here we go. It goes in with this arrow pointing forward, so I just have to line it up properly and shove it in once I remove the plug.
It's a little scary.
Here it comes. Whoops.
Jeez. I don't want to hear whoops.
Oh. A little bit of water, not too much.
Oh, God. That was dramatic. He did it! Yay! We didn't sink.
Okay. So I don't see any leaks. I think we're in good shape.
Thumbs up.
Enough of this dirt dwelling and marina living. Time to head back out to sea. We need to test out all of our new systems, upgrades, and repairs before we do the big crossing over to the mainland. We had a lovely weather window before the seasonal north winds were predicted to show up again, so we shoved off and headed out of La Paz and up into the Sea of Cortez for a week-long shakeout cruise. After I got the lines and fenders organized, I took the helm and headed out of the harbor, while Charlie got the sails ready. It was fun to see my running route as we sailed past. This is where I go running every single morning. Definitely looks different from the water. And this is what I was looking at, instead of what I should have been looking at, when we came within 6 inches of running aground. See that buoy there? The route out of La Paz Harbor is marked by red and green buoys, marking a pretty narrow path that you have to take. The harbor is huge, but extremely shallow, with dangerous shoals everywhere outside of that narrow passage. My sole job at this point was to stay between those buoys. But I'm out of practice. It was our first sail, and I got distracted. And I'm sure I can come up with a dozen other excuses, but the bottom line is I should have been paying closer attention, because instead of doing this, I did this. My attention was quickly brought back to the boat when I heard a loud beeping, which I suddenly remembered meant that we were in shallow water. The depth sounder said 7 feet, and Juliet's draft is more than 6.5 feet. Yikes! I quickly veered back on course. I don't know how we got so lucky to not run aground, but that could have been very bad. Even Bubba got a bit freaked out. Okay, well, we survived that. So we set our heading for an anchorage north of La Paz on the Baja Peninsula called Bahia Balandra. One of the things we have become very good at is anchoring. We've got our routine and our signals down to a science.
A little higher.
If you've seen our past episodes, we've visited this anchorage before. It has a famous rock called Mushroom Rock, also known as El Hongo. We quickly dropped the dinghy, but since we were only staying here for one night, we decided not to bother with the motor. Charlie needed a good workout anyway.
Here's Leanne walking over to the iconic El Hongo rock.
It would be really bad if it happened to fall right now. It's not budging.
The next morning, we weighed anchor and headed back out to sea. Our destination was Isla Partida, to a beautiful anchorage called Ensenada Grande. A north wind event was predicted for the next day, and it's important to find a protected cove when they blow in. But in the meantime, we had favorable winds for shaking out the sails. First the Maine came out, and then the Genoa.
Well, we're sailing. It's our first sail of the season. First time we've had the sails shaken out since March. How long ago was that? And this is now, what are we in? December? Long time for those sails to be folded up. So anyway, yeah, this is awesome. And we got some great wind. What are we doing wind-wise?
We have about 7-8 knots of wind, and we're sailing along at about 3.7 to 4 knots, which is perfectly fine. We only have about 18 miles to go today, so we'll be there, by early afternoon.
It's going to be a great day.
So we just set sail. We left Puerto Balandra, a really nice anchorage, and now we're headed over to the island of Espiritu Santo, an anchorage called Ensenada Grande. And it should be 3-4 hours. We're on a beam reach. We've got about 7-8 knots, and we're doing about 4.5 knots of boat speed through the water.
Ah, sailing again. We got a few hours in, but then the wind started to die, and apparently Charlie and I have different speed thresholds before we're ready to douse the sails and fire up the motor.
So how fast are we going, Charlie?
3.2, 3.3 knots. We have 6.5 knots of wind. And I'd like to take advantage of this because for the next few days we're going to have really strong north winds and we won't be able to sail. So let's do this as long as we can. We're about 2.5 miles away from the anchor approach, so we'll be starting the engine up pretty soon.
We should start it up now.
Pretty soon.
How about now?
About 10 more minutes.
How about now? Okay, all right. You're the skipper.
Well, we just dropped below 3 knots.
Ah,
and,
isn't that your bright line for...
Yeah, that's my threshold. So
yeah,
I
his
guess
threshold is a little lower than mine.
Down to 2.7, 2.8 knots.
Looks like we're firing up the motor, guys.
All right, here we go.
Well, that's all for this episode. Come back next time to see the rest of our shakeout cruise. We hide out from the north winds in Ensenada Grande. I do a really challenging hike up into the island interior, and then I get up close and personal with an eel while snorkeling. Then we move on to another picture-perfect anchorage, where we see a frigate rookery and have a little fun with our drone. We hope you're enjoying our videos, and if you are, did you ever think to yourself, you know, I wouldn't mind buying Leanne and Charlie a beer, or maybe even a margarita? Well, if you ever thought that, now you can. Just go to that Patreon link right there and you can buy us a drink. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.